Now, first, I'm very happy the book is done. And I'm very grateful to all of you who survived all of the requests of the editors on reworking parts and fixing the footnotes. I think we know all what we have gone through. I'm very grateful to all of you for the cooperation. And indeed, judicial perspective, as very rightly underlined by Iulia, is a very specific perspective. Iulia gave you all of the substance and the theory. I will give you just the logistics of it. I would say it is incredibly difficult to write when you're a busy judge. So I am very thankful to you and very grateful for that effort. Because it is a unique perspective, and it is an insider's perspective. This is exactly what the English University Press appreciated. And I think that the book is going to stand here for some time to come. We should also thank the court as an institution, because it is the court that brought the absolute majority of the authors together. If I had you in your respective countries, I think you probably will not have a book. It is this fact that the best of the best come to the court, and it is this that made the book also possible. So great thanks go to the court, as also confirmed by the fact that the two presidents of this court have written the introductions to the book. Now, the book is indeed complicated in many ways. The reach of the lawyers is limited. The title of the book is very ambitious. Think about it. The impact of this court on democratic change. I mean, evidently, no lawyer alone with our method can fully explain that impact. But the fact that we dared to actually try at least to see what impact on democratic change, either through freedom of expression cases or right to vote cases or the other cases, what impact this has had on democratic change, is exactly a reply to András's concern that in a way, with similarities, I accept that West Europe is now going through some of the challenges we actually have already seen for quite a number of years in Eastern Europe. But the conclusion of the book is reassuring that the European Court of Human Rights, through its case law, can assist important change in a right direction. The question is, do we all agree with that direction? And that is András's broader question, whether this court accepts and is willing to see that it does impact democratic change, which actually it has in Central and Eastern Europe. And that is very different from the British discourse on the convention and its impact, and the discourse that we've had in Central and Eastern Europe. Now, it is complicated at many levels, the study that the colleagues have undertaken in this book, because you can also trace, in fact, the beginnings with the compatibility studies, if there are any of the secretariat members from the Council of Europe. With the compatibility studies, you can also see very clearly, like in a textbook, which laws that were still from the previous regimes, totalitarian socialist regimes, which laws were particularly in their very substance contrary to democracy, because that's what convention is all about. It is about a certain model of democracy. And that's why you have these cases, so many cases on criminal law, on criminal procedure in particular, because there the philosophy of at least the Soviet legal system is absolutely opposite from the philosophy in the rule of law legal system. You see the approach to the concept of res judicata, that is, exist in Soviet legal system. something else, a phone call. So you very clearly in the book, through the restitution of property cases, through the KGB or other regime secret files, you see still what difference those systems brought when the convention started to apply in Central and Eastern Europe. And then, of course, you have the particularity, in Polish Charter, you have it in the Baltic Charter, you have it also in the charters, Croatia and Bosnia and Herzegovina. You have those particularities, the histories that these states have undergone, whether that the fact that in Baltic states World War II ended only in 1990, or the fact that a horrible war started in the Balkans just about slightly after that moment. So you have these, and of course the Janowitz against Poland. You also have the historical narratives, very complex historical narratives that Central and Eastern Europe brings. Huge narratives, much bigger than this court has seen, with some of the cases against France, for example, still sort of remnants of World War II issues. Then what you also see is the politics of the convention. You see who has had more impact, which societal stratas have had more impact, or which have been more willing to learn. And this is an interesting one. What comes through all of the charters is that in the end of the day, those are really national judges and the lawyers who are our true counterparts in these countries. Grudgingly, maybe, because it's unusual, it's something new. We are all human beings, we don't like new things, we are conservative. But in the end of the day, it's been the domestic judges, of course constitutional courts, practicing lawyers who have embraced the European Convention as a guide to rule of law and democracy, and a very detailed guide. It's been much more complicated, and you see that in all of the charters, which is interesting. It's been more complicated with the parliaments and the governments. Now, I find that we didn't expect that with Iulia when we started, actually. I don't think neither one of us thought about it. But it is quite amazing what is unifying in this book, what aspects come up yet again, whether you write about Romania or whether you write about Armenia, for example. There are many unifying elements. And then, of course, what you see, we didn't mean all of this, it happened as the book was being written, that it all sort of fell in place. And then, of course, you also see the differences in democratic development, because the countries covered in the book at the same time are very, very different, even if geographically they sort of, have been put into under the label of Central and Eastern Europe. Lots have been said about the book. I thought these remarks would complement a little bit of what has been said. Yes, please, you can read the conclusion of the book. I will not repeat it. The way forward, Iulia kindly asked me also to maybe reflect on the way forward. Now, true, it's been mentioned, there could be another book, but that's, we all know it's really a monumental effort to have the book in place. So for the moment, I will abstain from that, if I may. But more fundamentally, now I'm really speaking as a judge back in my country and as a judge of the Constitutional Court. And that's a message to you, to the European Court. You know, it's Andrzej left, but in a way I want you to respond to his intellectual queries. I do see from where I am that you need to have this type of intellectual reflection that we inadvertently, that's what we are having at this very moment, and I'm very pleased, that's my second big one. I'm very happy we have given this afternoon ourselves this food for thought. I think the court really needs to have a reflection, an intellectual reflection to begin with. In the circumstances where we are today in Europe, there are very many, not just challenges, but indeed crises that can undermine the state system in Europe, I mean the democratic state system in Europe. And the constitutional courts are already facing that because they are the first ones to receive it. And I'm a little bit following your debate. I'm trying to see whether you have had the reflection exactly on this issue. Should the court have a more clear position on what is its role in the European system? The democratic state system is being challenged. The European unity is being challenged. And I myself think that the court has to take its position and adjust its methodology and its internal debate. At least that's what, well, judging from the book, you will see that there are many other seeds of the judgments that are expecting a little bit more of the guidance in terms of the balances now to be struck between individual, collective, regional. So that is the way forward. I don't think you can avoid the bigger debate in Europe. You shouldn't, if I may. And just deciding on single cases without reflecting on the impact of that particular decision on broader structures behind. I think that time really has passed these nice years. We've heard hundreds of judgments just in relation to individuals without reflecting on the bigger consequences. So that is the way forward, and my answer to Andres will be, by all means, the court has to assess broader implications. Because as evidence by the book, in fact, it so happened, there were very broad implications. With that, once again, Iulia, thank you very much for all the work. And dear author, thank you very much, and the participants also. It's great to see you.
Dialogue, coming back to the Constitutional Court, that when I started this book, I was still a judge at the Constitutional Court of Romania, and we had kind of cooperation between the two courts. I think it's the discourse was very. I think it's the discourse was very much inspiring, and this kind of liberal hope and of fear about Europe today, the situation of democracy today. I think it's common. It's what required for us the movement of the militant democracy from the level of the countries, and what happened now in Germany after the end of the Second World War to the level of the court, and defending all the rights that we had constructed for the time being in Central and Eastern Europe, but not only in Central and Eastern Europe. I would like to invite the colleagues, the contributor to the book, or the others to take the floor and to say some words if they are willing to. Iulia, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, editors. I would like to make 3 very short points. First, thanking, then describing a little from an author's point of view the process, and the third, also looking about the future. First of all, Judges Motoc and Ziemele, thank you very much. It has been a very interesting experience and very educative entertainment and an event to participate on this big project. And my experience was that I discovered for myself many aspects about, of course, what was very close to my heart concerning my own country of origin, about the country Estonia and this court's case law about Estonia and the impact it had on Estonian law, but not only law, but also democracy and rule of law in much broader context. And this was a very, very useful exercise, and I have used the fruits of this exercise by training the judges in Estonia with this experience. And to show you just how it was like when I started to write about this chapter, of course there was already, as we heard today, some signs about some developments. But nevertheless, I took the liberty to cite 2, now both of them former presidents of Estonia. And first of all, President Lennart Meri, who said in the beginning of 1990s then that if Estonia would disregard the rule of law and would not follow the rule of law, it would be like the moon alone circulating around the earth. And to conclude the chapter with another reference to another president, Thomas Hendrik Ilves, who said that rule of law, and again I'm now taking into play not only democracy but rule of law is a very important point. Rule of law is like a car that needs constant revision, and that needs sometimes to change the parts and a little bit tighten the screws and change the gas. And I was very fine with this, and I was very happy about these 2 aspects to start with and to end with. But when we finished this, and of course then also the famous Delphi judgment came into the play. But when we finished the book, and when I look at it now, I see it, and forgive me, and this is about the feelings of the future as well. I see it when we take the point of starting point, which was said today, the events of fall of Berlin Wall. Then it was like moving fast forward, very, very fast, especially in terms of Estonia, taking these new principles that were actually rooted before very well into Estonian democracy, to accept them, to start living after them, to use this convention and this court's case law as a lifesaver for democracy and rule of law. And now I see, and this is really threatening, and I see that this movie has been rewinded and rewinded. And this is not East or West, this is our own common European problem. And I think we have to realize this, especially now, and therefore I think this moment of the book, The Process, is a very good illustration of these episodes. And recently, while we were already talking about the launch of the book, in October, it was still very hopeful statements in the Baltic Times about the importance of human rights and the central importance, as they say, to the European society. And it's interesting, they take a summary of the case law's impact of the 3 Baltic states, and they say today, more than ever, public opinion turns its attention to human rights violations, and the interest that initially was limited to the gross violations is now extended to the less evident violations, but that are there. And this is the real danger, which happens daily, even in the most advanced countries. And then they of course talk about the case law and the statistics concerning our 3 Baltic states. And just to conclude, a remark concerning about our allies as being the lawyers and national judges. It's very interesting because the same conclusion was actually made by the book of Helen Keller and Alex Stone-Sweet. So we see that there are similarities between these two approaches. And I guess one of the reasons that might be behind it is that we speak, although we don't agree always, of course, judiciaries at national level and here in Strasbourg, but we use the same logic when we speak, and it's easier to make it understandable with the same logic. So I very much hope that this book continues to show the immense contribution to the democracy and rule of law of the case of this court, not only in terms of Eastern and Central Europe, but in Europe in general, especially in the times which are critical and where we might not even notice when things are turning around. Thank you very much.
Yes, there is one very, very important word. When you open actually the book, the introduction, there are a few names mentioned at the end of the introduction. And I absolutely love the nationality spectrums of the names mentioned. They start in Romania. From Romania we move to Rose, who is here. And from Rose we moved to her assistance in Latvia. So there are a number of people who have helped us also with all of the sort of logistics and the technical work, and I'm really happy to see the process with us. Thank you so much.
I also like very much to thank you for coming today, and also to thank to the court, to Annie who is here, and to our president, Iulia Motoc couldn't come today because he's receiving a prize for the court, a very important prize for the court, and who welcome also the book and congratulate us for organizing this event, and for us too. So thank you very much for Luis who came, and he was the one who was from the Western and Mediterranean perspective and South, and yeah, to all of you, and have a nice afternoon. Thanks very much.
Gracias.